boy laughed at Kai Musk's science fair project. What happened next left him frozen. The school gymnasium buzzed with excitement. Rows of tables lined the floor, each displaying a different science fair project: volcano models, solar system diagrams, and robotics experiments. Parents and teachers walked around nodding in approval, while students eagerly explained their ideas. Then came the laughter, loud, mocking. "You seriously think that is gonna win?" A boy, dressed in a designer hoodie and expensive sneakers, smirked as he pointed at Kai Musk's project, a sleek but seemingly simple machine sitting quietly on the table. Kai, standing tall despite the ridicule, glanced at the boy but said nothing. The bully continued, loud enough for the surrounding students to hear. "Come on, man, you're Musk's kid. Shouldn't you have like a spaceship or something? This looks like a cheap science experiment. What does it even do?" Kai calmly adjusted a small wire on his machine. "You'll see soon enough." The boy scoffed. "Yeah, right. I bet even your dad would be embarrassed to see this." The words hit hard, but Kai didn't flinch. Instead, he turned to his project, ready to prove him wrong. What no one knew, not the bully, not the judges, not even Kai's own classmates, was that this simple invention was about to change everything. And when Elon Musk walked in, the entire gym fell silent. The moment Elon Musk stepped into the gymnasium, the entire energy of the science fair shifted. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. Parents nudged each other. Students stared, their mouths slightly open. Even the teachers, who were supposed to be the calm, collected adults, whispered in hushed excitement. But the person who froze the most? The boy who had just laughed at Kai Musk's project. His confidence evaporated instantly. His smirk? Gone. Kai, however, remained composed, watching as his father scanned the room, his sharp eyes landing on his project. Elon made his way through the rows of displays, ignoring the swarming attention. He wasn't here for handshakes or small talk. He was here for something real. As he reached Kai's table, he examined the machine carefully, his fingers tracing its sleek design. The room held its breath, waiting. "Explain it to me," Elon said. Kai nodded, his voice steady. "It's a micro-energy converter. It takes small amounts of ambient kinetic energy, movement from the air, footsteps, even vibrations, and transforms it into usable electricity. The efficiency rate is higher than anything currently on the market." Elon's eyebrows lifted slightly, a rare, subtle sign of genuine interest. The students, including the bully, leaned in closer, trying to grasp the weight of what Kai had just said. "Show me," Elon said simply. Kai flipped a switch. The machine hummed softly, barely making a sound. A small light flickered on, then another, powering up without a single battery or wired connection to an outlet. The crowd gasped. Even the judges, who had seen countless science fair projects over the years, looked at each other with wide eyes. But the most shocked person in the room? The boy who had mocked him just minutes earlier. His jaw tightened, his arms crossing over his chest. He wanted to say something, anything, to downplay what he was seeing. But for the first time, he had nothing. Elon studied the machine for a long moment before finally speaking. "This is impressive." Then he turned to the stunned crowd and said something that no one saw coming. And just when you think this story couldn't get crazier, it does. What Elon Musk said next shocked everyone, especially the kid who had been laughing. Stay tuned, because you won't believe what happens next. Like and subscribe so you don't miss the twist that changed everything. The room was dead silent, every eye locked on Elon Musk. The billionaire entrepreneur, known for revolutionizing industries, stood in front of his son's science fair project, studying it with an intensity that made even the teachers nervous. Then, he turned to Kai and spoke the words that shattered the entire room. "How much do you need to take this to the next level?" Gasps rippled through the crowd. The judges exchanged glances, unsure if they had heard correctly. Kai's confidence never wavered. He had been preparing for this moment his entire life. For a full prototype, probably around 50,000. Elon nodded, considering. Then, he pulled out his phone, typed a few things, and looked back at Kai. I just wired you 100,000. I want to see where this goes. The air was sucked out of the room. Even the most composed adults couldn't hide their shock. $100,000? For a school science project? Kai didn't blink. He simply nodded. I won't waste it. The boy who had laughed earlier looked like he had just swallowed a brick. His face paled as he realized the full weight of what had just happened. He had mocked Kai, called his project a joke, laughed at the idea that it could ever be worth anything. And now? Elon Musk had just invested 6 figures into it, right in front of everyone. The boy's friends slowly backed away, as if afraid to be associated with him. Whispers spread across the gym. Did that really just happen? Musk just funded his own son's project, like an actual investor. And that other kid, he was just laughing at it. The bully's hands clenched at his sides. He could feel the stares, the judgment, the silent humiliation sinking in. Kai turned to him, his face calm. Still think it's funny? The boy had no response, because for the first time in his life, he realized something painful. He had underestimated the wrong person. And what happened next made his humiliation even worse. The boy's face was red with embarrassment, but the worst part? It wasn't over. The gym was still buzzing. The other students, the parents, even the teachers were still in shock over what had just happened. Elon Musk, one of the most powerful innovators in the world, had just invested in a middle school science fair project. And not just any project, Kai's project. The very project the boy had mocked minutes earlier. And now, the attention had completely shifted. The judges, who had originally planned to move from table to table with polite smiles, were now rushing to Kai's display. Not just out of curiosity, but because if Elon Musk saw something in it, they knew it had to be big. One judge, a professor from a top engineering university, leaned in. Kai, can you walk us through how this works? Kai nodded and, without hesitation, began explaining in detail. He spoke with confidence, describing the efficiency rate, the potential real-world applications, and how it could be scaled for larger energy projects. The judges were hanging onto every word. The boy who had laughed earlier? He had never felt so invisible. No one was paying attention to him anymore. Not his friends, not the students, not even the teachers. Just moments ago, he was laughing at Kai, thinking he was the one in control of the conversation. Now, he was nothing more than a background character in Kai's success story. And then, things got worse. Because while he was trying to shrink into the crowd, Elon Musk turned toward him. You, Musk said, his voice even. The boy stiffened. You laughed at this? The entire gym went silent again. Every single person was now watching the boy, waiting for his response. He hesitated. He wanted to defend himself, to say something clever to recover. But there was nothing he could say, because the truth was painfully obvious. He had mocked something he didn't understand. And now, that very thing was worth more than anything he could have imagined. Musk didn't need an answer. He had seen this happen before. People doubting, people laughing, people underestimating innovation. So instead of pressing further, he did something even more powerful. He turned away from the boy and back to Kai. Because Kai was the future. And at that moment, the boy realized something he would never forget. The ones who laugh too soon are always the ones left behind. This is where things really start to shift. Elon Musk just put this project in the spotlight, but the biggest twist is still coming. What happens next will leave everyone speechless. Stay tuned, hit like and subscribe so you don't miss it. The boy stood frozen, humiliated beyond words. Elon Musk had dismissed him without a second thought. Not with anger, not with insults, but with something much worse, irrelevance. Because while the boy was still reeling from the moment, the rest of the room had moved on. Judges were surrounding Kai's table, eager to learn more. Other students, instead of mocking, were asking questions. Teachers were murmuring among themselves, already seeing the potential impact of Kai's invention. And Elon? He was already thinking ahead. "Kai," he said, tapping his phone screen, "I just sent your concept to some of my engineers at Tesla and SpaceX. I want their thoughts. If the efficiency checks out, we'll start prototyping next month." The gym erupted. Students gasped. Parents exchanged stunned looks. Even the teachers, who were used to pretending they weren't impressed, couldn't hide their shock. Kai, calm as ever, nodded. "I'm ready." The boy, still standing on the sidelines, felt like the walls were closing in. His friends, who had been laughing with him earlier, weren't by his side anymore. They had all drifted toward Kai. Because now, Kai wasn't just some kid at a science fair. He was a future entrepreneur, a real innovator, someone people wanted to be around. And the boy? He was just the kid who laughed. Then, something even worse happened. A local news reporter who had arrived to cover the event walked up, camera rolling. "Kai, how does it feel knowing your project just got interest from Tesla and SpaceX?" Kai kept his composure. "It's exciting, but I'm not surprised. I believe in my idea. I knew it had potential." The reporter smiled. "And what about the reaction you got earlier? Some students didn't seem to take it seriously at first." The entire gym turned back to the boy. The camera panned straight to him. His face burned with embarrassment. And then Kai did something no one expected. He looked at the boy, not with arrogance, not with revenge, but with something far more powerful. Empathy. "I don't blame them," Kai said, turning back to the reporter. "A lot of great ideas get laughed at first. People mocked my dad when he started Tesla. They laughed when he said SpaceX could land rockets. I get it." The crowd nodded, murmuring in agreement. "But in the end," Kai continued, "the people who laugh usually aren't the ones building the future." The reporter smiled. The students cheered. The boy? He had never felt smaller. Because Kai wasn't just proving him wrong anymore, he was inspiring everyone else. And the worst part? He was doing it with kindness. And just when you think the lesson has been learned, something even bigger happens. Because this story isn't over yet. What Elon Musk does next will shock everyone. Stay tuned. Hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the moment that changes everything. The boy wanted to disappear. Every second felt like an eternity. He had mocked Kai in front of everyone, thinking he was making a joke. Now he was the joke. And the worst part? Kai wasn't even trying to humiliate him. He was just proving, effortlessly, that he was on another level. Elon Musk's engineers had already started reviewing Kai's concept. The gym buzzed with excitement, students whispering about how a simple school project had turned into something groundbreaking. Teachers who once viewed Kai as just another student now looked at him differently, like a young innovator, someone with real potential. The boy's friends had abandoned him, gravitating toward Kai's table, wanting to be part of something bigger. The judges had lost all interest in the other projects. The focus was on Kai, on his idea, on the future. The boy swallowed hard, realizing something painful. He had spent the entire fair tearing someone down when he could have been learning from him. Instead of laughing, he could have been asking questions. Instead of mocking, he could have been listening. But now, it was too late. Elon Musk turned to Kai again. "We'll set up a meeting next week. I want you involved in the process." Kai nodded, ready. "I'll prepare everything." The boy's stomach dropped. This wasn't just a science fair anymore. This was real. Kai was stepping into a world of innovation, while he was left standing in the same place, stuck in his own arrogance. The room started to clear out, parents and students still buzzing about what they had witnessed. The boy hesitated, then finally took a slow step toward Kai. His voice was quieter now, stripped of all the confidence he once had. "Hey, I didn't mean to." Kai didn't let him finish. He just smiled, a small but knowing look. "I know," No bitterness, no anger, just understanding. And somehow, that made it worse. Because Kai had already moved on. The boy had laughed at him, but in the end it didn't matter. Because the future belonged to the ones who dared to believe in something greater. And Kai Musk was already too far ahead. The boy stood there, unsure of what to say next. Kai had already turned away, back to discussing his project with the judges and engineers. The moment had passed. He had lost his chance. As the gym emptied, students and parents still whispering about what had happened, the boy lingered near the exit, watching as Kai shook hands with people who once overlooked him. The teachers who barely paid attention to his project were now nodding in approval, treating him like a young genius. Even the principal, who had been there just for formality, was suddenly interested. The boy clenched his fists. He had spent the entire fair looking for a way to put Kai down, to make himself look better. And now Kai had left him in the dust, without even trying. Outside, Elon Musk and Kai walked toward a sleek Tesla parked near the school. The billionaire was still talking, pointing at something on Kai's notes, discussing the next steps. It wasn't just talk anymore. It was real. The boy knew that moment would haunt him for a long time. He had laughed at Kai Musk. He had tried to make him look small. But now the only person who looked small was him. As the car pulled away, Kai didn't even glance back. He had bigger things ahead. The boy exhaled and turned away, finally understanding. Some people laugh, others build, and the ones who build, they always win. Days passed, but the moment never left him. The science fair, the crowd, Elon Musk's words, it all replayed in his mind like a loop he couldn't escape. No matter where he went, he heard whispers. Did you see what happened? Kai Musk is a genius. His project is going to be huge. And then the headlines started. News articles, tech blogs, and even national media picked up the story. Elon Musk invests in son's school science project, and it might change everything. His friends sent him links, tagging him in posts, thinking it was funny. But for him, it wasn't. He had been there. He had laughed. And now, the whole world knew just how wrong he was. At school, it was worse. Kai didn't say anything to him. He didn't have to. The silence was enough. The other students didn't bother mocking him. They just didn't care anymore. He wasn't the loudest voice in the room now. Kai was. One afternoon, scrolling through his phone, he saw a new article. Tesla engineers meet with Kai Musk, prototype already in development. His stomach twisted. It was really happening. He closed his phone, staring at the wall. That could have been his moment too. He could have been part of something bigger. Instead, he had wasted it laughing at the person who was about to change everything. And that was when he made a decision. No more laughing. No more tearing people down. Because he had learned something the hard way. The ones who doubt, the ones who mock, they always get left behind. Weeks passed, and the world kept moving forward. But he felt stuck. Kai Musk's project had exploded into something much bigger. The prototype was already being tested, and engineers were discussing real-world applications. Some news outlets even called it the next step in sustainable microenergy. And where was he? Sitting in the same classroom, scrolling through updates about the very thing he had laughed at. One morning, as he walked through the hallways, he overheard a group of students talking near the lockers. Kai's in California this week, meeting with Tesla's R&D team. Yeah, I saw. His project's already getting patent approvals. It's crazy. He clenched his jaw and kept walking. It was like the whole world had moved on and left him in the past. Then one day, something unexpected happened. A school-wide email was sent out. Special assembly tomorrow, guest speaker, Kai Musk. His stomach dropped. Kai was coming back. That night he barely slept. He kept thinking about what he should do. Would Kai mention what happened? Would people remember? Would he just be the guy who laughed at something that changed the world? The next day, the entire school gathered in the auditorium. The lights dimmed, and the principal walked onto the stage. Today, we welcome back someone who has not only made our school proud but is also proving that innovation can start at any age. Please give a warm welcome to Kai Musk. Thunderous applause. Cheers. And then Kai walked onto the stage, confident, collected, unshaken. He stepped up to the microphone and scanned the crowd. His presence was different now. He wasn't just another student. He was someone people listened to. A few months ago, Kai started. I stood in this same gym with my science fair project. Some people believed in it, some didn't. But that's how ideas work. The world doesn't always see the value in something right away. And that's okay. He paused for a moment, then continued. Because the people who keep building, who keep believing, those are the ones who move the world forward. The room was silent, hanging onto every word. And in that moment, sitting in the audience, he finally understood. Kai wasn't calling him out. He was giving him a chance to change, a chance to stop being the person who doubted and start being the person who believed. For the first time, he saw Kai not as competition, not as someone to mock, but as someone to learn from. And this time, he wasn't going to waste the opportunity. The room was completely silent as Kai Musk stood on stage, his words hanging in the air. Because the people who keep building, who keep believing, those are the ones who move the world forward. The boy in the audience sat still, staring up at him. For weeks, he had replayed that moment at the science fair. The laughter, the humiliation, the realization that he had underestimated the wrong person. Now, as he listened to Kai speak, something inside him shifted. Kai hadn't come back to gloat. He hadn't come back to make anyone feel small. He had come back to inspire. And for the first time, the boy truly listened. After the assembly ended, students rushed toward Kai, eager to shake his hand, take pictures, ask questions. He answered them all, his usual calm and focused self. The boy hesitated near the exit, debating whether to just leave. But something told him he couldn't walk away from this moment. He took a breath, then stepped forward. Kai noticed him. He didn't smirk, didn't bring up what happened. He just waited. The boy swallowed his pride. "Hey, I just wanted to say..." He hesitated, searching for the right words. "I was wrong. About everything." Kai nodded, as if he had already known. "I know." The boy let out a small breath, relieved that Kai wasn't holding anything against him. "I don't just want to laugh at things anymore," he admitted. "I want to actually build something. Do something real. I don't know where to start, but I want to try." Kai studied him for a moment, then gave a small, knowing smile. "Then start. No judgment, no grudges. Just a simple truth." The boy nodded, knowing that this was his second chance. As Kai walked away, back to his future filled with innovation and possibilities, the boy stayed behind, knowing that if he truly wanted to move forward, he had to take the first step himself. Because in the end, some people laugh, some people build, and the ones who build, they change the world.